Welcome back. It's early morning here. It's sort of first light, as you can see by the, it's actually a bit wet. It's not raining, but it's a bit wet. But at least it's not cold. Yesterday was savage. It was sort of sub-zero, and it was most unpleasant working outside. If you saw the videos, you'd have the last one of the car. You'd have seen me chopping with a disc cutter, cutting through. Nearly lost it. My trusty workbench, the local authority wheelie bin. Anyway, you'd have perhaps seen me cutting through these discs. A bit of a dangerous job, really, especially doing it in the street. There was a certain amount of energy contained within the spring. Obviously, it was decompressed off the car, but there was still a lot of tension, a few tons of pressure. So of course, when it made the first cut, it went with a heck of a bang, as I expected it would. Now, what happened, I was filming me cutting, but I didn't notice that the SD card was filling up, and the SD card just became totally overwhelmed, and the camera stopped filming about a minute before the spring sort of cut through, and it just what happened. Let's have a look. It's just I've got the two pieces sort of wrapped together, but it jumped about. Let's have a look. It jumped from. Imagine these are a single spring, not two. I was cutting. And then it jumped to about here. So it jumped about 50 millimeters, a couple of rings. And, it was quite a jump. I had it underfoot, but never mind. I've managed to retrieve, and sadly I didn't catch this on camera. This is what I've been fighting for 2 days to try and retrieve. A cup and the collets. Now this has been cleaned up. Because the camera was, the SD card was full, I didn't notice it wasn't filming. It appeared to be running and operating, but it just simply didn't record, which is a shame. So my moment of triumph, we missed. So yeah, it's been cleaned up. I spent about half an hour cleaning them up, and I'll paint these. But as you can see, the collet is very rusty. I haven't cleaned that yet. Now the collet sits in the bottom there. All that happens, my hands are, I've got gloves on, but it's actually very cold, these items. Let's have a look. So of course the spring fits over the shock, and the spring seats on the seat at the bottom here. And you have to use the spring press to compress the spring below that. Let's just pull this out. I'll take a collet. So yeah, with the new spring, you press the new spring with the pressers below that lip there. There is a lip, which is actually like it does move. It's like a spring, but it must be extraordinarily strong. Now the cup sits over. Of course, the other side of the spring fits rather nicely. The other side of the spring fits rather nicely into that cup. And here we go. Yeah, so obviously the cup then sits over, and there's quite a lot of movement. Let's just take one collet I've cleaned. So once the spring's pressed and the cup's on, let's get it where we can see it. There we go. You can slip one collet in at a time. There's one. Then you have to come around the other side and slip another one in. There we go. There we go. It's a bit awkward. Come on, I've got it trapped. Let's just try a bit hard. There we go, it's in. So the collets are in, and now theoretically that won't slide. Yes, it doesn't look. Yeah, so that's how it works. And this is all I was trying to save. I was just desperately trying to save, the cups and the collets. I didn't have any spares, and I've been struggling to find new ones. I managed to find cups, but they were very, very expensive. They were £20 each plus carriage, so it was £26 each. But that didn't include the collets. And I found collets on another site, but there were two different types. They had different profiles. I had no idea of which ones I needed if I were to have bought the other cups. So I know that these collets fit this cup, because that's why I fought so hard to save them, and I have. And it's a shame that I didn't get the opportunity well, I was filming it, it just wasn't recording. I didn't realise, so my moment of triumph was missed. But I've got the other side of the car to do, the other, you know, so I will bring those off, and I won't go through the whole rigmarole, but I'll film the bits that were missed and I've been able to publish. Once I'd cut the spring off, the seat and the collets were rusted solid. They weren't sort of falling away, you know. It was. Let's have a look. I should shove that up. This is what I ended up with minus the spring, and there was an awful lot of rust, and you couldn't see. Let's have a look. You can clearly see the gaps. You couldn't see the gaps. They were completely full of rust, and rust everywhere. It was all rusted around the bottom, but I didn't dare bash them about because I wanted to keep this. It wasn't a case of just brute force. I needed to sort of, so what I did, I got a very, very large spanner. In fact, I'll tell you what it is. It's for an old-fashioned immersion heater. It's for removing the elements. So it's got a huge loop. So I put the big loop over here to protect it, and just tapped it with a hammer, and slowly managed to sort of just tap this down. Once I'd sort of tapped it down to about here, you know, I got it away from that sleeve, that collar there. I managed to sort of just knock it left and right a bit, and managed just loosen the collets. And then, you know, I'll flick them out. I'll record the next one anyway, and make sure that it's filming this time. But something else which did get caught on camera yesterday, before I tried any pressing, I wanted to sort of, you know, just bash the whole unit with a mallet, just to loosen any rust. And as I was hitting the edge of the, the spring was in here. I was hitting the edge. It was quite close up here, about this sort of, and this was on there. This is the mountain bush, and I was hitting the spring. And just sheerly the shock made this fly off. The weld has failed, and as you're looking in there, that weld's quite dirty. This side's shiny, and that side's dirty. Yeah, that side's dirty, and that side's shiny. It was only holding by one of the welds, so at some point that would have failed on the car. Yeah, this would have been jumping about on the car. That wouldn't have been any good. You know, it would have probably bounced and jumped upwards like this into the bottom of the cage. You know, there's three other springs on the car. It wouldn't have been a catastrophe, but clearly that, yeah, looking at it, it's because I didn't hit that bit with the hammer. I was banging here. It was just the shock made it just fire off. So yeah, looking at it, it's definitely, yeah, that weld there is definitely shiny. The other side's dirty. So yeah, we got two. You know, it's actually larger that side as well. That side is twice the size. So yeah, 2/3 of what appeared to be joined was actually loose. So there we go. That would have been a definite failure, but the bushes are in dreadful state. They needed to be done, but even if the bushes weren't in dreadful state, at some point that would have failed on the car, and it would have been, yeah, potentially a disaster. But anyway, I think that's all I wanted to show you in this video. I need to sort of fish underneath the car, because today I'm going to sort of try my hardest to remove the radius arm, but I'll make a totally separate video of that.